Oh my goodness, you guys. Pop in. If you've never come into my lives, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And I kind of failed myself this evening, didn't I? 100%. I'm going to have to give a shout out to my friend Kathy. I just got your message. All wondering where I was. And I was in the deep of it, you guys. Oh my goodness. Let's see if anybody shows up. Let's just take a few breaths. Today is today isn't a holiday. Today is my holiday. I have the holiday off, Canada Day, July 1st. But in my job, it's required that I'm given a stat day, and they gave me today as my stat day, Sunday. And in my brain all day, it didn't even cross my mind that I was coming live tonight on YouTube, right? I thought I was going to be coming live maybe later tonight in picking my next word for next week. So I'm just going to have to remind myself just not to do that tonight. I'm so sorry, Kathy. Thank you thank you so much for messaging me. Right? That is absolutely crazy. I would never ever be more than 10 minutes late. Something is wrong, something I am missing, or something I have stepped into 100%. But thank you so much for saving my bum there. I would feel really, really bad. And I bet you, no question, because what I was doing, you guys, look at me. I'm in my pajamas. I'm not right. I can barely see out of my glasses because of the grease on my face from just being in my vacation. You guys, I am having so much fun. And it's the research, and it's the checking the sites out and looking for different routes all day today. I was looking at maybe doing a full Great Lakes circle. I don't think too many people do those ones. They do the Lake Superior circle in the States and in Canada. And it's feasible for me to do it in the span that I want to do it. I just can't find those campsites on the other side of the border that would be that feeling that possibly that I would be in the wilderness. It seems very busy. Soon as you cross the border, like so many big cities in every state. Here in Manitoba, we have Winnipeg's the big city, but there are smaller big cities like Brandon and Selkirk and right Dauphin, but they're not right. You could drive through them in five. You could drive through them in 5 minutes, and in all honesty, you could probably drive through from one end to the other end of the city in about 10 minutes in rush hour. Not like Toronto. I went to Toronto just before the COVID hit. I went to Toronto, and it took me an hour to get out of the city, and I was on the 401, and the 401 you can go like a 120. You can go really, really fast. Oh, Nancy's here too. Nancy's here. Thank you, Andrew, for even popping in. Sorry to make you wait, because I know you guys were waiting, right? Hopefully you were in your projects and just keeping a half eye, right? Just in case. I hope I didn't stall you out, right? Right? I'm a good over a half an hour late tonight. Over a half an hour late. Never even crossed my mind. Like I said, I'm still in my pajamas. I was deep in, right? I'm looking at circle tours, and I'll just open this up so you guys can see. You might find this interesting. This is Lake Superior, right? This is Lake Superior, but you guys know in that area, the Great Lakes, there are 4 or 5 of them all bunched up. You can see the tail. There's Lake Michigan down here, which is one of the Great Lakes, right? And there's Lake Huron, and there's uh oh my good, I don't even know them. I don't even know them, and I would just love to get to know them, right? While I have this opportunity. But right, I do this trip. I love this. I love this road trip. I do this road trip for I've been doing it for years, and I suspect that I'll probably doing it for the rest of my life in some capacity, whether it's just a quick few days or if it's a week, or like this one, it's 2 weeks in my September. Right? I love this. This is a rock hounding trip, but at the same time, I am going on my 1 billionth, you guys. I don't know if you knew that I am a Google guide on Google Maps, and I go by my first name, and some of you know my first name. So you guys can track my travels, and you can track all my photographs, because from each one of these provincial parks, I photograph them and I upload them to Google, YouTube. I think I'm like 25,000 views away from 1 billion views on my contributions on Google Maps. And I could do more. I could do more within my city. I can contribute in all different ways. What I do is I like to do reviews in the few restaurants that I go to. When I get some exceptional service, and when I go to the store, I like to contribute. Your guys' reviews are very, very important. The big bosses at my head office, they'll come straight to the store and they'll haul me into the office, and they scare me every time they haul me into the office, because I think I'm going to get pooped for something, right? But they haul me into the office and they make a big deal about the Google reviews, right? Because Google has earned its respect in this day and age of the digital age. I can't imagine none of us sitting watching this live tonight has not Googled a question. And it's funny that I say that, because I think I watched a video this morning on a thought leader, right? And he was talking about, you know, this day and age of searching out those answers that you've never had the opportunity, right? Or going off and exploring places that you've never had the opportunity. Right, on Google Maps, you can go and explore so many places. You can do virtual walks on Google. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, but this is part of the tour that I'm doing. I've got 3 of these. This is out of Ontario's tour guides or magazines, right? And then this one is split up by the northern provincial parks, and then on the other side, it's the southern provincial parks in Ontario, right? But this one, it gives you the parks on the state side too. So I was looking at maybe, right, because then I could do it by just readjusting everything, and I would only be adding 2 or 3 days to the trip. And I think I could subtract a couple of those provincial parks, because I'll be going there in a different route, and I can take those other parks another time, right? Because there'll always be another time. And I just got my passport, and yes, I'm going to Herkimer. I'm crossing the border anyway, but that's through the Toronto, right? Because I'm going to the Bancroft area. They are renowned for their crystals and minerals. They're renowned for there are a lot of ghost mines. So you guys, maybe we'll get the opportunity to do an urban exploration of a mine, a gold mine or a silver mine. titanite hill, and there's all kinds of minerals, selenite and quartz, and right. It would be nice to get some geodes, but in Ontario, the geodes aren't super abundant. But I'm doing the research, and if they're available for me to go digging, I will. But the idea right now is this payday is set aside to pay for my camping spot. So I have to set my dates and my itinerary for the road route. And it has to be precise because I only have that vehicle for 2 days. And again, today I was thinking, do I add an extra day to that? Right? I can. I can rent whatever I want. And I can add an extra day, and I believe I'll be able to pay for the gas. That's right. And if I pay for the camping spots, this this payday, you guys, it's done. I can just dream. I can research the areas where I'll be camping at. I'll be looking at aerial views of different paths and trails. I can be able to go into that research rather than looking at campgrounds and looking at campsites and looking at road routes and looking at different stopovers and opportunities. And right now it's time to set that down pat, because you never know, life is going to throw wrenches into things. And when you commit, and sometimes that commit is your hard earned money, right? Because I book all those camping spots, I won't be getting all my money back if I cancel them. I know by the grace of these government run provincial parks and state parks, they do have policies in place where we can rearrange our reservations a little bit, and right, even though we do lose a little bit for cancellation, we get a little bit back. So that's a little bit comforting in that too. But I think I've downpacked it. So the road route that I'm going is figured out. The campgrounds I am staying at and the dates is down packed. My favorite camping spots from each one of those campgrounds is written beside um, each campground, because we know from the time of now and payday, those campsites will be booked, right? People are getting that feeling, oh, it's summertime, let's go camping. And they're just thinking of it now, just like July long weekend after, right? July 4th for the States, right? Everybody will be thinking about getting out in the great outdoors, and everything will be booked up. So I want to have options, right? So this is my favorite one. This is number two. This is number three. And if number three is taken too, I'll take number four, right? And have each one of those numbers there so that when I go in that morning to book my, oh, it's probably going to cost six, including Herkimer, probably $800 for the camping, right? And we're going to get all the provincial parks paid this payday. So I'm proud. I'm proud of myself. I really am. And you guys, that makes for a lot of video, a lot of explorations, a lot of right, a lot of content for my brand, and that makes me happy. And that reward for myself, I get to reward my brand with content, and at the same time, right, you guys are hanging out with me. It's like you guys are going on vacation with me, and you can trust how good I am at booking my spots and the research and the campgrounds, and right, because I picked I'm picking each one of those spots because of things in the area or the campsite itself that were absolutely amazing. And I was right in it. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad that you popped in, Kathy, and reminded me. I'm going to sip on my cold coffee. She put me in such a panic. She goes, Cindy, we're waiting for you. It's Kathy. And I'm going, waiting for me? Oh my goodness, it's Sunday. And I went into such a panic, such a panic. I have this because it's that time of day too, right? When the light is shining in. Like nothing was set up. I got my camera up just a slight much so you can't see my messy desk of maps and notebooks, and I just unplugged my phone just to see what everybody was doing in the moment, right? And it's just oh my goodness. But I'm here. And I'm grateful to have friends. I'm grateful to have friends who know me well enough to know that I would have felt super, super bad if I had missed this. And yeah, thank you, Kathy. Yeah, wow. That's a couple of days of mishaps. It's the change that's coming into my life in the moment. I'm staying busy in right working my summer plans, my September trip and stuff, but that is kind of a side project that helps me to keep my mind from dwelling on things that I might wish were different, or a little bit easier, or a little bit more fun, or a little bit less frustrating. It's why hobbies are important. And we all have hobbies here. I know you guys, right? 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 There's Andrew and his calligraphy and his writing, right? His books. We all have our hobbies. I'm a little eccentric. I love the outdoors, you guys. I really love the outdoors, and being a city dweller, and I love being a city. I love the busy. I love the interaction with people. I love checking out and analyzing dynamic, different people that I come across my path, even if I'm just sitting at the bus and I'm looking at the person that's sitting across from me and stuff. You can imagine, the kind of life that they might have, or even the kind of difficulties they might have just by their appearance. It's really funny that just what popped into my mind right now was an Instagram post, and it was a homeless guy, and he tied up a hammock on a bus from one, those bars that you hold on to when the bus is full, and you have to stand. And he hung it the hammock from one end, and then he hung it from the other one. And the bus driver was, you can't do, what are you doing? And the guy was like closing the hang, leave me alone, right? Don't tell me I can't do this. And right, you're giving me a headache and this, right? And everybody's just sitting here looking at this guy swinging from the ceiling of the bus in his hammock. Yeah, pretty funny, right? But that's the thing, it can be funny, it can be interesting, and even though you're not looking at somebody's um situation, you're looking at the situation. You're not looking at, ha ha ha, look at this person in their demise of homelessness and desperation to take a nap or be close to people, or to even be heard or be seen, because maybe, right, he knows this looks idiotic, right? It's not the norm, it's not part of the majority, and he does it anyway, just to be seen, just to be heard, right? I don't know. Interesting. You guys, I have been in it today, and it takes me a couple of minutes to come down in where I'm supposed to be when I realize I'm coming from somewhere I had no idea. I had no idea that it was such. I wouldn't have shown up. If I didn't have friends tonight, I wouldn't have shown up. And I wouldn't have just not shown up for you guys. I wouldn't have shown up for myself. I know myself well enough that I would have beaten myself up. I would have felt so bad. I would have felt so guilty. I would have shown up the instant I realized, even if I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, right? Wasn't it Sunday night? And here I am. Not only that, I was thinking I was going out with my sister tomorrow, um, right, to get a little stuff done. She's overloaded with stuff, and there's stuff that needs to get done, right? And my movement is quite often dependent on her movement because we're partnered in what we're doing, right? So yeah, I would have I would have been on the phone and like, where are you? Right? It's pretty funny. But everybody, happy Canada Day if you're Canadian, but I know a lot of my audience is July 4th, right? And it is Independence Day, right? The 4th of July. And they I'm not even going to argue in the fact that the Americans know how to celebrate their July 4th a whole lot better than we celebrate our July 1st. And our July 1st we do it up pretty good with the fireworks and the flags. Here, a little sip of my cold coffee. Yeah, it is coffee. We're done with that. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. And funny. And at the same time, it is humbling, right? It's humbling. It's in that recognition that I'm only human. And I have been making a few stumbles this week and a lot of aspects. And I'm happy that I have 4 days off. I think because you guys know my first day after my work week, I am useless, and I usually, right, I just pop in for a short time on Monday, and then, right, I'm back into my even this cold, you guys. I've had a cold for all weekend. I got it, I think Thursday or Friday. I woke up with a cold. It's not a bad cold, but I think it's the first cold that I've had probably in at least 6 months. Okay. In Nashville, I hope you had a great time, William. I'm an American whose ancestors lived on Ontario. Tomorrow I'll hang my Canadian flag in front of my apartment doorway. Oh, isn't that nice of you, Andrew? Right? You have, and that's true because the border between Canada and the States was very late in its establishment, right? And even here in Manitoba, we have a lot of Ukrainians, also in North Dakota too, right? So when they were all moving to this area, they were all family and friends and acquaintances, right? And it's kind of like the border just cut them off, right? And yet, the first thing I thought of was like the North and the South and the Civil War, but we never fought each other. There was a war between the states and Canada, right? But we got saved by the chocolate lady, Laura Secord. It's funny, Laura Secord is chocolates, but the chocolates was company was based on a story of Laura Secord who heard a conversation of the states and of an attack coming into Canada, and she trekked through the woods to warn the commanders of the um, Canadian side, and yeah, they were able to calm down that attack, and it was a possibility that they could have won the war, and we could have been a part of the United States. Can you imagine that superpower? That would be kind of scary, wouldn't it? Right? That would be a big country if they had Canada. It's kind of neat though when you look at it though that the states has Alaska, right? The states has Alaska, but the states also has Hawaii, right? I think Canada has a little island. I think in I can't say for sure. It's in one of those tropical islands, and I think we have a part of Canada down there. Scroll up and see your good news. Okay, I'll do that, Nancy. You just hit like 500 or so on Google Guides. Oh, Nancy, you know what? You would be absolutely amazing for your city with your beautiful pictures and your pictures of the buildings and the flowers and the city sidewalks. Like, even if you just went to every corner and just took a picture of the street signs, right? You're offering service to everybody because everybody uses Google Maps. I don't know anybody who doesn't. I mean, they do it for walking, they do it for bike riding, they do it for taking the bus, they do it for driving, they do it for do they do it for airplanes? I think they might. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Maybe not airplanes. Let me just take a look because now I'm curious. Directions. No. So car, bus, walking, or bike riding are the choices that you have. But anybody could be a Google guide. And like I said, I am on my 1 billionth. I'm only less than 25,000 views away from. We're going to send some good cheer. Oh, wait to hear the story about this. Send some good cheer to the fire truck and the paramedics that they get to their destination and it's a false alarm and they just turn around and go back to the barbecue. I live right behind a fire station. They actually do have a barbecue. They're always barbecuing when I come home from work at night and I walk down the back alley. They're all cute and stuff, eh? They're all hanging at the back door with the barbecues and they're all grilling steaks and stuff. Right. Keep themselves their shifts are very long. Their shifts are very long there. But when I go back here to me and see my contributions, maybe we'll see. Because it is summer and summertime, people are traveling, people are camping, and it's a lot faster to accumulate your points. Um, mm, here's a new one. Earn your new contributor badge. Get started by making these simple updates. Post 2 photos and write 2 reviews. And then I'll get my contributor badge for that one. Mm, no, I'm 30. No, I'm 26,000 views away from 1 billion views. That's pretty amazing. I'm proud of that, you guys. And that was just taking photos of parks and stores and restaurants, writing a review if I got good service, people use it for criticizing quite often. You know, people make mistakes, people have bad days. And I think on one visit and not having a fantastic experience, right? I don't know. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all, right? But at the same time, you want to make sure that, people are walking in the door of a store that does have good service and walking in the door of a restaurant that does have good food and good service. So, when somebody goes out of their way, that's when I usually will pipe in and say amazing things and add my photos and add my reviews and I got 1 billion. I'm on level 6. What level are you on, Nancy? If you don't mind, check your phone and let me know what level you're on. I think I'm 500 points away from level 7. I know at level 7 you're eligible for different different functions that Google puts on, and you go and meet up like a convention, for people who hit certain levels, and you get to go and they give you an experience. They put you up in a hotel and I've never looked to see if I might like to contribute in that fashion. That would be pretty amazing because I would contribute in that, but also at the same time that would be a pretty cool experience. Okay, I'm coming back down into the comments because I know I'm missing stuff. Hello, William. Glad you're back. Uh, but good enough. The War of 1812. Yeah. Guess what, Cindy? I'm going to rebuild my layout. I'm getting a new table for my birthday. Oh, that's absolutely amazing, Nancy. Right? Right? These things that we bring into our lives to make us smile, right? To make our life a little bit more enjoyable. It's important, right? It's important. Sometimes we have to wait for those rewards. Sometimes we have to move towards those rewards. But sometimes those rewards, right? Like at the on your birthday and stuff, they just kind of show up. We got a couple of birthdays coming up. On the 9th, I am going tubing down the Pinawa River, down to the Pinawa Dam. We're gonna have a picnic and stuff. Me and my family. My sister has been really ill this past year, and so this is going to be her first big outing. And right, we're tubing down. We're tubing down a river. But if you think about it, well, I don't think it'll be a lot of effort for her. Like she'll just be sitting there. She can read a book if she wants to. She'll be able to, right, get some of that telluric energy that comes out of the ground and from the trees and some nitrogen and oxygen. And she's going to feel absolutely amazing. The only problem would be getting her down to the takeoff point because you have to go down a little slope after the bridge. You have to walk down there. But I think with me on one end and my brother-in-law on the other end, right, we'll get her planted in her tube. And when she's 3 hours later, because you're tubing down the river for 3 hours, that I think that might encourage her. She has had a pretty rough few years, and it would be pretty amazing to see some good and some happy come into our life. And like I said, just like Nancy, right? That these wonderful things pop into our lives once in a while, and this might be just the thing she needs, right? So we have that, and then it's her birthday, because this is another sister's birthday, so she would just be coming as a guest because that's what we want to do for her birthday. And then her birthday's coming up just a couple of weeks after that. We've already set in place ideas for her birthday. And then right after that, we're going into, right, 1 or 2 more weeks of powerful words that we're doing on what's my good cheer. And then, right, I can't believe I stuck with that with for a whole year, but I learned a lot in that whole year. And a lot of that was learning about myself, right? Was a little bit of giving myself a break and recognizing, right, that I'm only human, and I like it like that, right? There are lots of things in this world that we don't understand, but I think lots of these things in this world we weren't really meant to understand. Just kind of circumstances come across our paths, and we got kind of landed in places. But if you're landing in places, the very least is we can look around, explore a little bit, experiment a little bit, right? And if there's a reward in that, right? Make the reward. I love that one. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites because there I have these dreams of one day being a philanthropist, right? And that doesn't mean giving everything I have away, but that means giving all the froth and everything that's going off the sides and giving that away. That, like, I want to have a spectacular, amazing life full of adventure and experience, and, right, passing on that reward that could have possibly passed me by, right? Very, very easily, right? It's only in us paying attention sometimes that we catch on to these things, but it's sometimes, right, you can beat up the side of the head, not catch any of that. And that's how it was like for me for decades. Oh my goodness. Okay. You're at level 3. Good job, Nancy. Good job. Remember, I've been at it for 10 years. I do believe I've been a Google guide for almost a decade now too. And I travel a whole lot more than you do too. Remember that, Nancy, on my little part-time job, you guys, right? That I'm making and planning and getting money, like, putting money down. It's expensive. I could have done anything. I could have gone on an African safari. I could have done that, right? But this is what I wanted to do, right? And I want to do what I want to do. And that's as simple as that. It's that connection to Mother Nature. And I'm thinking maybe next year we'll do a little bit something different in September. And like I said, we'll still do this, right? But maybe not in the same time span. Maybe we'll just fly somewheres for a couple of days and just spend a night in a hotel and just rent a car and, right, go mine for amethyst for the day. Get our hit, get our hit, and head back home, right? In that, working towards the goal of something a little bit different, because it's in our choices. Like I said, I could have done anything, and I'm creating a magnificent vacation wrapped around a few hobbies of mine, right? It's a rock hounding trip, it's a road trip, you guys. 12 12 provincial parks, and 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 Herkimer, New York. It's a farm. We're going to stay and camp on the farm's property, And the gentleman who owns the farm, he's going to take us up in the mountains on his quad in the morning. I'm going to dig into a side of mountains. I may stay 1 day, I may stay 2 days, because I have another part of their farm where you can just dig through tailings and stuff and just find the crystals and stuff just right on the ground. And I would like to do that one too, but going up to a side of the mountains, are you kidding me? Yes, please. Right? And I'm going to be in that area, right? And from where I'm camping on the night before I get to that campground, I'm only 6 hours away, and I'm crossing a border. I'm crossing into the states at that border. So I'm looking forward to this trip. I won't give probably going forward specific dates on everything, because you never know. I am in social media, right? And because I do work in some of these topics that are extremely curious, but if they were to come to a point where they could make an impact, what a crazy impact, right? Something that probably every denomination, every different culture, right? Running on just common values and allowing ourselves to keep our unique and different beliefs, right? Our different way of living, right? My dad used to say all the time, live and let live. I know he took it from a James Bond movie, but he used to say it all the time, live and let live. And he didn't just say it, right? He lived it, and he appreciated people for their differences in themselves too, just as much as he expected people to. He never gave anybody any reason not to appreciate my father, but in any case, it wasn't right. I was just moving in that direction. It's in my overexcitedness in right, connecting in Mother Nature, and knowing that those other parts of me are getting excited too. Okay, so in saying that, you guys might have a little bit of a laugh on this one. Maybe you won't even get it. I don't know. I'll tell you anyway. So I went to the after work last night. I checked my bank account, right? And I transferred my funds, lost my funds into my bank account, and I went to the store and I made my purchase, right? At the store, I got home and I was home for about 10 minutes. And usually my phone can sit in my purse all night. I'm not somebody who plays on their phone consistently. I do pop in and I just catch up really fast periodically through the day. But for some reason, 10 minutes after I got home, I went to my purse to get my phone, and my phone was gone. Well, you can see I got my phone back. I freaked. I freaked out. I went, oh my goodness, I just bought my phone, right? It's a Pixel 8. Cost me almost $2,000. It's it's my camera for my trip, my 2 week trip. And it's gonna make the most amazing film for that trip, right? And and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, where's my phone? And then I thought, and then I remembered I had checked my bank account and transferred funds. I remembered that, but I don't remember when I did it. I don't remember if I did it at work, if I don't remember if I did it sitting at the bus stop or when I was sitting on the bus, or and then I thought, or in the store, right? And I went, oh my goodness, has somebody found it on the bus or found it at the bus stop, right? That phone is gone. That phone is gone. And so, I take a deep breath and I shut my computer off. Now I'm in a mode, right? I have to backtrack. I have to at very least try. I'm not one for crying over spilt milk, right? If there's nothing I can do, but if there's something I can do, I gotta do it. So what I gotta do is I gotta backtrack, right? I don't have a phone. I messaged my sister really quickly on my computer because I had the computer. I said, before I turned everything off, I just said, phone my phone. I lost it, right? Just hoping that she would get that message. And then, I put my purse around my neck and grabbed my keys, and I ran out the door, and I just took the walk to the store and stood in line because the lady was serving somebody else. And I walked up to the counter and I said, I'm just here just on the off chance that I might have left my phone here. And she looked at me and she says, yes, you did. She says, I just found a phone. Was it a blue one? And I said, yes, it was. It was my brand new $2,000 Pixel 8. And she went into the office and she came out. I saw it instantly in her hands. I knew it. My heart, that feeling of such relief. But I was tracking, but as I was back to the store, in my mind I'm saying, okay, well, if it's not there, then we're going to go and jump on a bus and we're going to go back to work. You'll go to the bus stop just on the off chance that it's the bus stop. You're going to go to work. You're just going to check at work just to see, because I have the keys for the store. I would just check to make sure that it's not at work. There's a possibility I might have left it at work. I've done it before. And if at that point I don't find the phone, I will hop onto the bus and I will make some inquiries with the bus driver. If somebody turns a phone in. Um, Right, I've gone through this with I lost my store keys one time and I had to track down the keys. It worked, but oh my goodness, it was a headache. But that sense of relief, because I had just gotten home from a really hard day at work. And, all through in running my mind is, oh my goodness, I don't have my film. I can't afford to buy a new I can't afford to buy a new phone at this moment. And what I did, put it back in here. When I got home, where are you? It's my electronic basket. I keep all my electronics in here. Okay, it's not in there. I can't remember where I put it. Oh my goodness. Just dropping everything everywhere. But I had my old phone, my old Pixel 2. And I grabbed my old Pixel 2 from the drawer. I said, if worse comes to worse, it has a good camera. The Pixel, even if it's that old, it had a good camera on it. I'll still be able to go on my trip. I said, and I'm thinking, I'm going through the scenarios, if now I've come to, right, if I backtrack all these places and I truly have, because I didn't have much confidence. I probably was 80% sure that I had lost my phone. 80%. That's pretty high, right? And I was upset, but not angry upset, disappointed in myself a little bit. And also, of course, the planning and the worrying of, right, do I have everything I need? Can I still do this trip? Should I just cough up the money, right? Because you have to pay the contract out before they'll give you another phone. And I probably owe still quite a bit. It was pretty much a brand new phone. So my contract is still pretty high. So I said to myself, is that the end of my trip in September? Does that mean? And I said it aloud, and I said it with a big smile on my face. It says, does that mean I don't get my trip in September? Because I've got to dish out all that money to get a new phone. So I'm walking home all proud. I got my phone, and I thought to myself, Was it the threat that I wasn't going to go on this trip in September? Sorry, I have a cold. Because those other parts of me, I swear, those other parts of me are planning too, just as much as Cindy the human is planning. Those other parts of me are planning too, in the creativity and in those ideas of possibilities. Like today, I had almost said, right? I even looked out at the different campsites on the American side of the border to make it a Great Lakes circle tour, not just right, a circle tour. It was going to do all the lakes because it was plausible. But I think I would have been so exhausted in that, right? I think I would have been so exhausted, right? I have to recognize this is not a trip that I'll be spending any length of time in any of the parks. I'll make sure that in the morning I will walk the trails for a little bit, right? We'll be inspired by those morning walks or those afternoon trails if I decide to stay a little bit later and have nice breakfasts and I have interactions and conversations because there are always interactions and conversations with people that come across my path, right? When I'm on these trips and we pass such amazing gifts, such amazing gifts. I don't know. I know they see more than what I see, but at the same time, I have to consider that when I recognize they see something, I recognize them a little bit more too. I like, how can they see it? Why do they see it? How come I don't see it? What do they have that I don't have? Right? Then you delve in a little bit deeper, and sometimes you can come up with an explanation. Sometimes you can find a commonality in that, but sometimes, like I said, sometimes we're not meant to understand. But we're so nosy as humans, and especially as highly sensitives and as empaths, right? In that hypervigilance, we tend to search out. We are very curious. We are very attentive to our surroundings, 100%. But yeah, almost thought I lost my phone. And yeah, I giggled to myself because walking home, that feeling of walking home, like it's a wonderful life. The world is amazing. Thank you for those other parts of me, just right. And thank you for the lesson, right? Because most definitely there was a lesson learned. I'm right. I'm going to be even more hyper vigilant about my phone until it is right, pretty close to being taken care of in its being paid for. Yeah, so I thought you guys might think that was curious, but that's just one of many hiccups and little stumbles and stuff. And the things that I find when those kind of things happen to me, they're not usually big things, like big things. Like you might think that phone situation was a big thing. It was a big thing in the moment, but I got my phone back. I got the lessons in that. I got to feel that little bit of stress and anxiety of and that desperation of how are we going to work this through, but at the same time kind of proud of myself that right, we were going through the steps. Like I was just going through the steps and I didn't have to go too far before that phone was right back in my hands. But if I was doing it right, it would have made it into my purse the moment I finished checking my bank account. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it threw me for a loop there. Let me just come along into the comments here. Um, 2 more weeks, Nancy. Wow, isn't that right? And but I hope your necessities are taken care of, Nancy. Sorry, my voice is a little bit rough tonight. I am just getting over a cold today. I just wanted to relax. There was no big agenda. I wasn't going to do too much. I was actually just going to be, right, taking in the lessons, seeing what everybody is up to, what everybody is putting out to the world, right? I don't even know what's going on in the world, what the big news is. You guys, is there something, anything really super major going on in this moment in the world that I am not aware of? I don't think I have been in the news in any way, but I'm sure, like I said, I worked yesterday, and I'm sure having so many conversation, right? If there was something really terrible going on in the moment, somebody would have said, "Oh, isn't that terrible that so and so that this was happening?" Or, "Oh my goodness, an earthquake or tsunami," or, "Oh, Pierre Trudeau," or Justin Trudeau. Pierre Trudeau was my dad's favorite prime minister, and Justin Trudeau was Pierre's kid. Yeah, some people are not fans. I listened to not a lot of the feedback, but you can't help but notice the unkind things being said about him sometimes with the fonts on the thumbnails, right? And in the titles. So I try not to delve into it too much. Just coming down here. Your ministry page. Remind me on that one. So I'm not usually in the ministry pages. 2.5. Now my fonts are all messed up too. Here, let me just hit this 1 second. Maybe it'll get me back to normal. No, it doesn't. Can't read the comments in the moment, you guys. Here, maybe I can just. There we go. Now, if I could just close that one. There we go. Back into it. We won't miss your birthday there, Nancy. That's pretty fantastic. You're going to get a new layout for that. And you'll be putting it together, will you? You'll be decorating it and building it and using your creative ideas to put it in the new town. I'm assuming. I know you did your last one. Maybe you can do. Oh, and you usually do the 4th of July, don't you, on your layouts? I remember, Nancy. You hit up all the my cold coffee. You hit up all the holidays. You hit up all the holidays. And yeah, 4th of July, knowing what it's a big one, such a big one in the States. I can't remember your 4th of July ones, but I'm sure you would have had lots of American flags and stuff on your trains. You would have had a pretty nice layout, I'm sure. Okay, let's see how bad this cold coffee is. It's just because of my throat, you guys. Nancy, I can. And for those of you who came in later, you guys, Nancy had to message me tonight because they gave me my work stat today. And I wasn't thinking that it was Sunday in any way. I actually thought it was Monday today. And I would have come live tonight, but it wouldn't have been Chatters Live. And I probably would not have come live until 10 o'clock or 10:30 tonight. And so if it wasn't for Nancy, I might not have made it here. But I'm sure eventually, I'm sure there might have been an email from Andrew or Owen or somebody messaging me and letting me know, like, "Hey, Cindy, what happened to you? You still alive and kicking?" Oh, it's Kathy. Kathy. So no, sorry, I was just talking to Nancy, but yeah, Kathy messaged me. But yeah, it was. Oh my goodness, you should have seen me stumbling. But I said that's how my week has been going like that. But as much as those, and I got trailed off. As much as all those little hiccups, stubbing my toe, kicking a table, breaking a glass, losing my phone, uh, falling asleep at my desk last night. I fell asleep at my desk last night and I came into my Instagram live so late last night. I woke up just like here. I wasn't napping today, but last night I was just like, I woke up and I went, oh my goodness, Cindy, go to bed. And I looked at what time is it? And I looked at the clock around. Oh my goodness, I didn't even go live on Instagram. And I just right away, I still had sleep in my eyes. I was barely awake. It was a I have to go back into that live and watch that live show, right? I can't remember anything, anything of that, and that's the truth. That's the honest truth. So whatever was in that live show, it was flow or it was nothing. Maybe a combination of the both. Just when Cindy waking up every few seconds and contributing a little bit. I don't know. I'll watch that live. I'm sure there'll be a lesson in that for me. I have no idea. I've been zonked, you guys. The cold is getting me. That dedication, right? It's dedication. It's kind of an obsession of me, right? Working as hard as I do. I have to remember I'm 62 years old, and I tell you, I worked like I was an 18-year-old yesterday. And also at the same time, we're in training a new assistant manager. And she sicks me on the homeless people. Like, and I'm thinking, oh, you have to learn. Like, what happens when I'm not working, right? And you're here and you're in charge of a busy shift, right? You got to be able to handle that kind of situation. I didn't say that to her, but I'm thinking that, right? And it's a learning process, 100%. I remember when I was first coming in to leadership, right? And that's the thing. I had this conversation with her, I didn't have the conversation of, and it's something I should have, the difference between being the authority and being a leader. There is a huge difference, right? You know, but it is a learning process. And, when I first started up in leadership, for me, when I first started up, it was I think at 16 years old, and I started working for Smitty's Steakhouse on Kingsway Highway in Vancouver, and I was a dishwasher. And I was good, and I just worked after school and on the weekends, and it didn't take too long, but they made me a grill cook, right? And so I learned the grill. I learned how to do the steaks, and people started not showing up, and I would have to fill in shifts. And then pretty much then after that, they just hired a new dishwasher, and I was on the grill. I think within the year, they had offered me the kitchen manager position. That was the year that my dad had decided to move to Manitoba, and so I didn't take that position, but it was my first taste of leadership. But that leadership in the beginning was just showing up for myself, knowing that if I worked hard, if I was there on time, if I pulled a little bit extra when somebody didn't show up, that it would be appreciated and noticed at the very least. And that would lead me into better situations. And it did, right? Almost all my jobs, right? Unless they were serving jobs. And even in the serving jobs, I would be supervisors in those serving jobs or head waitress in those serving jobs. And in fact, with the hotel and restaurant association, I tied first with Pasquale as waitress of the year. I can't remember what year it was, 2020. I'm not quite sure what year it was, right? But I did uh, hit waitress of the year for the entire city, and they had a lot of different restaurants and bars compete in that. That was a fun competition too, right? but but yeah, leadership, and it was a learning process, right? You learn each job, and there are mistakes, and there are things about the job that we don't like, and we just have to learn to do it. But after you do it 100 times, it becomes at least easy, right? And even though you don't like it, well, now you can just do it really fast because you can do it in your sleep because, right, you've done it so so many times. I'm gonna have to end my lives, guys. So my voice is going on me. I'm not gonna have a voice at all tomorrow, 100%. But because it's not Tuesday, and me and my sister are getting together at her place on Tuesday, tomorrow's all freed up now. Tomorrow's all freed up now. I would have, right? I've been on the messenger with her first thing in the morning. Where are you? I'm waiting for you. Are you ready to go yet? And she'd be like, what are you talking about? It's Canada Day. I told you I was going off with my boyfriend to do this and this, right? That's what exactly would have happened. Yeah. Thank you, Nancy. Or sorry, thank you, Kath. Thank you. Thank you, Kathy, so much for messaging me, right? And I know if anybody here would have understood how bad I would have felt if I had missed my live tonight, I know Nancy would have been that one of those people for sure, 100%. But thank you again, and thank you everybody, right, for coming in and hanging out with me and waiting for me to finally show up. That was pretty amazing. I have an amazing crew, and even though I wasn't prepared, I'm still in my pajamas, right? I'll have a nice bath now, knowing that my live is done, right? That I showed up for myself, sorta, kinda, right? And I showed up for you guys, sorta, kinda, right? And sometimes that's all you can do is just be proud of showing up, right? That you put in that effort. And that's leadership, right? That's leadership. And sometimes that's how leadership starts, in just in that consistency of showing up. Okay, you guys. See you next week. If you want, I'll be here tomorrow sometime with What's My Good Cheer. I'm going to take a little bit of a break now, make a fresh cup of coffee, turn on some lights, and write out my maybe not dead set itinerary, because I think I want to take a second look at all my choices to make sure I got them in the right order. And then a couple of days before I finally, right, get down to booking them. And once they're booked, that trip is set in stone, you guys. And we're going to have the most amazing time. We are going to be, hopefully, bottle digging some of these old mines, because these were mining towns in the late 1800s and early 1900s. And with my metal detector, I'm hoping that I'll be able to catch some old, outhouses or the actual dumps. Um, it might not be possible, right? Because usually in that time span, they put the dumps pretty close. Sorry, they put the dumps pretty close to the graveyards. I don't know if it was because of a smell issue. I think it was because it was something that was a municipality issue, so that the town or the city or municipality could take care of both properties at the same time. But we'll see, right? We get this done, we get this down packed tomorrow. That will free up all this time from now until we leave in just saving that fun money, right? Saving the fun money, knowing the car is taken care of, the gas is taken care of, the campsites are taken care of, some groceries, a little bit of fun money, some packing, and a little bit of minimalizing a little bit better than what I did last year. And actually putting a list in of some of those topics that I want to have the opportunity to cover if I'm in a magnificent landscape. And there's going to be some amazing landscapes. Oh my goodness. Right? Yeah. And I'm getting a little bit better in those adventure videos that I'm putting out there. If not in the entertainment of it or the message of it, at the very least, the quality of the footage, right? So I'm looking forward to it. I really am sorry again for being late. Everybody, have a great night, and we'll see you next week. Show and tell. Show and tell. Don't forget. See you next week.